Larissa finally got called out for her secret past that she never ever talks about. Guys, what is up? Happy Monday. Last night was the main event. It was the Super Bowl for us 90 Day Fiance fans. It was the 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After Tell-All Part 1 of the 3-part series. And last night, so much stuff went down. We have so much stuff to talk about, and I'm going to get into everything in a couple of minutes. But first, really quick, I want to talk about what went down, what was a huge scene for me, and that is when Andrei finally called out Larissa for her secret past life that she never talks about. And yes, for those of you guys that know, I'm talking about her kids that she has in Brazil. Now, for those of you guys that just don't know, because Larissa never ever seems to ever talk about it, that is the fact that she has 2, maybe even 3 kids over in Brazil. And yeah, I mean, she kind of just, left them when she met Colt. She moved over to Vegas, she married him, and she has now stayed in the US. Now, we never really knew if Larissa was sending them money or if she just never talked to them. Now, maybe in a past scene, sometime when she first met Colt, maybe she did talk about her relationship with her kids. I might have missed that. So let me just apologize if I did miss it. But me personally, I have never really, that I can, really remember, ever see someone call out Larissa for having kids over in Brazil. Well, last night on the Tell-All Part 1, it finally happened. Everyone saw Larissa, and boom, there's a picture of her and Eric from last night. And yeah, if you can tell right there, she definitely grew. That's all I'm going to say. Larissa has grown since we've seen her last, and everyone, including Colt and Debbie and Elizabeth and Andrei, everyone noticed, and they were like, what happened to her? And that is actually when Sinjin was like, what is the deal? You have kids overseas. So Sinjin was originally the one that brought it up. He was like, you have family, you have kids, maybe it'd be a better idea for you, instead of, buying stuff, to buy, take some of your money and send it overseas. And then Larissa kind of chimed in a little bit and said, hey, you don't know what I do with my money. I do send them money, blah, blah, blah. And then Andrei chimed in, and that is when Larissa went off. Andrei was basically just saying the same thing, that, hey, every few years you have to get stuff redone, and if you have family overseas, you should be sending them money. And then Larissa got really fired up. She basically just told Andrei, hey, you don't have a job, you don't do anything, and I do send my family money, so leave me alone. So for about a 60-second smidge, we finally got to hear Larissa for, as far as I'm aware, one of, maybe not the first, but one of the first times I have ever heard her talk about her kids. Now, unfortunately, she didn't really get into the big details on, who's the father, how old are these kids, what are they doing, are they ever going to come to the US? She didn't, unfortunately, go down that rabbit hole of info, but she did bring them up, and she did say that she is sending them money. And she also said that all of her work that she's doing online, a lot of that money is just going to her kids. Now, I don't know if that's true. I can't fact check it. Hopefully for Larissa and Larissa's kids' sake, that is the truth, but we really don't know. So I thought that was unbelievable, because I know a lot of you guys probably had no idea that Larissa even has kids, so that was just a shocker in itself. But yes, that got brought up. And for everything else that went on last night, so much stuff happened. First, I think we should do a little bit of backpedaling. We've already talked briefly about Elizabeth and Andrei. They were definitely one of the main events from last night's episode. And not only was it Elizabeth and Andrei, we also heard from Elizabeth's dad, brother, and sister, who, y'all already know me, I can't stand them. I feel like they are so entitled and just rude. But on last night's episode, we kind of got to talk about their relationship. First, we started off with Elizabeth and Andrei. How is their relationship as a married couple? And as many of you guys can guess, it's not going very well. Andrei clearly gets upset and he gets too fired up way too easily. And Elizabeth, I don't know. I mean, I think her biggest problem is they just do so much of this. They're constantly going back and forth, back and forth. And so that doesn't help their relationship, that they're constantly going back and forth. But the icing on their cake that basically just ruins their relationship is her family. Now, number one, the sister and the brother, Jen and Charlie, they basically just cannot stand Andrei. Now, I don't know if this is just for the show or if they are jealous, or I don't really know. I mean, it's probably one or the other. Either the sister and the brother are just jealous, or maybe they just are doing it and they're faking it for the show. I don't know which is which. If I had to guess, I would honestly probably say that they are just jealous, because if y'all don't remember, we all saw it was a few episodes ago. Charlie, Elizabeth's brother, gave that speech at Andrei and Elizabeth's wedding, and he was doing a little bit of this. He had some liquid courage, and he really spilled his thoughts and his beans on what he was thinking, and he was making comments that just kind of showed, oh, okay, yeah, he is clearly jealous. And then Jen, Elizabeth's sister, was kind of talking about her dad paying for weddings and stuff like that. So there was definitely some jealousy comments, but the entire tell-all that they were on last night, they were just going off and off and off about Andrei. They were talking about his past. They were talking about how rude he is. They were talking about how, he needs to get a job and this and that. And Jen was talking about how Andrei is clearly using her dad. So it is just awkward. I feel like we've reached a point of no return for these two with Elizabeth and Andrei. I don't see how on earth, if this fighting is real, how they could ever stay together. Because at this point, the sister and the brother, they can't stand Andrei. Their relationship will likely never be able to be fully repaired. And the dad, Chuck, I don't think he is really liking Andrei much more either. I think he kind of has a decent relationship with him, but it's not great. It's nothing special. And I just think that they're getting to a point of no return. Everyone in Elizabeth's family can't stand Andrei. So they were fighting, they were going back and forth, and finally I was so excited because they were really giving it to Andrei. They were getting mad at him. But finally, Sean, the host of the tell-all, turned the tables, and then she started kind of pointing fingers at Charlie, because remember Charlie, he gave that crazy speech. He really called out Andrei and Elizabeth. He technically, ruined their wedding. And so then, she asked him, hey, what was the deal with that? What went down? And honestly, for as much as I don't really like him, he honestly kind of handled it like a mature man. Kind of. He did. I don't know if he actually apologized. I don't think he apologized. So that isn't mature or cool. So let me just say, he did say he was embarrassed, it wasn't cool, and he had too many of these. I don't think he actually did apologize though, so he didn't really handle it too terribly great. He might have kind of said sorry under his breath, but it wasn't any big vocal, hey, I'm sorry, I screwed up, I shouldn't have done it. It was just, if anything, it was just a real small little sorry kind of a thing. But then they asked Andrei, because remember, when Andrei and Charlie were at that dinner and they were about to go head to head, Sean asked him, if he regrets it or if he apologizes, and he just stood there and said, no, they were asking me too many questions, they were being rude, and I am not sorry. So Andrei, me and my roommate were both saying come on, man up, be the grown adult here. Whether or not you really feel sorry and that you are in the right or wrong, just apologize. Apologize for your wife's sake. Apologize to be able to have a relationship with your wife's family. I don't feel like that's too uncalled for. So Charlie and Andrei, I don't believe either of them apologized. I don't think either of them said sorry. And I think they are both clearly in the wrong. So you guys put in the comments below, but I don't know what is going to happen with these two. They're definitely still married. They're still together. They're still in a relationship. But I just don't know long term what is really going to happen with Elizabeth and Andrei. So guys, before I go to the next couple, make sure to put in the comments below what you think of them. And the next couple I want to talk about, and I'm just going to say before I introduce them, I think they are going to be an ex-couple very soon, and that is Kalani and Asuelu. They are by far one of the weirdest couples I have ever seen on this show. I can't even recall a couple that is all of a sudden they're so good, then they're so bad. Kind of even Elizabeth and Andrei, but I feel like Elizabeth and Andrei, they're not going anywhere, and I feel like some of their fighting might even be just a smidge fake, whereas Kalani and Asuelu, I think it is real, I think it is just genuine, and I don't think they're lying about anything. I don't think they do anything for the cameras. I think what they're doing is just flat out real, and they have serious issues in their marriage. marriage. And on last night's tell-all, we kind of got to hear what was going on. The last we knew of these two was Kalani just kicked out Asuelu at his house, and she told him, hey, you gotta go stay with your mom, so she kicked him out, and that's all we knew. And on the tell-all, Kalani did tell Sean that, hey, Asuelu just kind of invited himself back, and Asuelu said, hey, I missed my wife and I missed my 2 kids, and you can't blame him, but they never really came to a mutual agreement of, hey, I think it'd be good for you to come back. He just came back on his own, which, good, bad, whatever, but you could just see they have not been doing well. They clearly have an issue. They fight way too much. And another huge issue is both of their families. First, if you look at Kalani's family, they were both there. The sister, Kalani, and the mom were both there, and they both just said, I do not think that these two are going to stay together much longer. And I am with them. I don't see how this is possible for the two of them to be together much longer. I mean, it's like they're constantly fighting. They have nothing in common. Why would they stay together? And after last night's episode, Kalani's mom basically just gave her permission to leave him. A lot of the fighting was about the quarantine and this and that because Asuelu was out and about and he was doing stuff that he shouldn't have been doing, and he will not listen to anyone because I feel like he kind of thinks he's just above everyone and he's better than everyone. So he was out doing his own thing. Kalani was upset, her sister was upset, and her mom and dad were upset. So clearly Kalani and her parents and her sister are not a big fan of Asuelu, and on Asuelu's side, it's the exact same thing. I feel like Asuelu's mom is just kind of standing somewhere in the middle. She's kind of just indifferent at this point. You already know, not a fan of her. But the sister, Tammy, she just cannot stand Kalani. She does not like her at all. And honestly, it's like they just have their back against the wall. So Kalani and Asuelu, as far as we know, they appear to still be legally married, but her mom was saying it, everyone was kind of saying it, the writing is written on the wall. They aren't going to be together much longer. So you guys keep an eye out for them. I'm going to keep an eye out for them too, but I wouldn't be shocked after this tell-all comes out, and then once, their NDAs are done, the contracts are done, I would not be surprised if all of a sudden we hear that, hey, they have ended their relationship, they're not together anymore, and maybe even that they have separated, or maybe even that they are going to get a divorce. I can't say yes or no, I don't know, I'm just speculating, but I feel like their relationship is very soon going to come to an end. Then we saw a heck of a lot with Colt and Jess, because remember Colt and Jess had that stupid fake relationship. I don't know why I always use air quotes for everything, but I feel like everything on this show is worthy of air quotes. And yeah, they had their stupid little relationship, Jess and Colt, and they have been broken up for months and months and months. I think Colt said that they have been broken up for like 10 months when they filmed the tell-all, so it's been such a long time, and we all know, spoiler alert, that we now know in present day that Jess actually married a man from Michigan, which, hey, my hometown, so go Michigan, but, she married a man, she moved on, they're not together. Colt, he might possibly be in a relationship with Vanessa. I don't really know for sure. They were trying to get her on the tell-all last night because we all remember Vanessa and Jess are not friendly. They are not friends, and so they have some unfinished business. I honestly have absolutely no idea where Vanessa and Colt stand in present day. There have been pictures of them leaked, walking around Las Vegas together, being kind of romantic, so we can only make the assumption that they are probably still together, but with Colt's track record, maybe he cheated, you just don't know, maybe he did something, maybe he ruined the relationship, maybe Vanessa ruined the relationship. We don't really know, so they could be together or they could just have broken up. I really have no idea, but last night with Colt and Jess, I'm going to keep it quick for you guys because it was just so annoying. They were fighting like cats and dogs. I feel like Colt, he just faked the relationship to come back on the show. And I feel like Jess, I could be naive and I could be stupid and wrong, but I feel like Jess actually kind of maybe somewhat sort of liked the guy. And I feel like she was actually kind of hurt and just emotional last night. Like she really seemed super, I don't even know, like she seemed kind of upset about Colt. Like she really seemed seriously emotional. I could be reading her wrong. Maybe she just faked the whole relationship to come on the show. I don't know, but she definitely seemed upset at Colt, and she was really upset at Debbie, which, you know, I mean, I get it, but I'm still kind of just like, you know what? It's been months and months and months. Live and let live. But hey, we do have to give Jess credit because it does sound like she did marry a new man, and no, it was not mentioned. She did not mention that she's in a new relationship, that she got married, but of course, this is a 3-part tell-all, so I'm sure we're going to keep, you know, be getting more on the next 2 episodes, and we can probably get more info on her new relationship and this new man. And we were just getting ready to see Vanessa because there's a lot of unanswered questions with Vanessa, like if Colt really cheated with Vanessa while he was with Jess, and a bunch of other stuff. There's still some unanswered questions, but right when Vanessa came to the camera, boom, the episode ended. But for, you know, the rest with Colt and Jess, honestly, you know, they kind of got into the details of him messaging other women on social media and taking pictures of himself, you know what I'm talking about? And so, you know, they kind of got into that rabbit hole, which was just, you know, not anything I wanted to know about, but he kind of explained himself. It was weird, it was odd, it was awkward, and that was basically it. Now with Larissa and Eric, they were there. We briefly talked about her past, you know, life with her kids at the beginning, and then that was it. So I'm sure we're going to be seeing more of them in the next 2 tell-alls. We briefly talked to Angela and Michael, and honestly, I was just kind of keeping my distance because it was so stupid. There was a complete double standard going on with Angela and Michael. Now, the big thing that everyone was talking about was that scene a few episodes ago where Michael and Angela had their joint bachelorette party. Do you guys remember that? And then all of a sudden, Angela realized that there were some women walking around in Michael's eyes where he kind of had a roaming eye, if you know what I mean, kind of, somewhat, sort of, and she got so mad, she stormed out of there, she was furious. She was still literally furious, like, to this date. And the dumb thing about this was, during this tell-all, she, like, made a comment, and it was a joking comment, but she made a comment that she wished she would have met Elizabeth's daddy before she met Michael. So I am just standing here thinking, I mean, I kind of understand where Angela's coming from, kind of, but if he's looking around, is it really that harmful? I mean, come on. But then she's standing here making comments that she wished she was, you know, with Elizabeth's dad. So you can't have your cake and eat it too, Angela. You can't be mad that Michael is having a roaming eye kind of at a bar restaurant of some sort, but then you can't stand there and say you want Elizabeth's dad. It just doesn't seem fair, but she wants to control every situation and do whatever the heck she wants, and Michael, for whatever reason, is still going along with it. So yes, for those of you guys that don't know, they are still married, they're still together, but he is over in Nigeria, and it doesn't sound like he's going to be coming over to America anytime soon. If I had to guess, I'd probably say at minimum, like a year. And I think that was pretty much all the couples we got to hear from last night. Tanya and Sinjin were very quiet, so I think we have some unfinished business with them, and Larissa and Eric, and probably a little bit with Angela and Michael, because they were kind of quiet too. And I think really what's going to be a big deal is with Colt and Vanessa and Jess, so I am excited for that. So guys, thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I love talking about 90 Day Fiance, and if you can't tell, my videos, I'm making them a little bit longer because believe it or not, I have so much I want to talk about, and I used to have my videos be like 5 or 8, 9, 10 minutes, but I couldn't ever get all the info and share the stuff that I want to talk about, and I don't know if you guys like them or you hate them, I don't really know, but I have so much stuff I want to say before I say it, kind of. I don't want to drag out my videos to be like an hour or 2 hours long. I don't want to do that because that, for me personally, gets a little bit boring, but I figure if it's 15, maybe even 20 minutes at max, you put it on your TV, we sit back, we have a good time, we gossip, we talk, and hopefully everyone enjoys it. And if you do enjoy this video, it would mean the world to me if you tapped that like button. Hey, maybe even comment below some of your thoughts, and if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, it would mean the absolute world to me to hit that subscribe button. So guys, thank you all so much for watching. Like I always say, hope you enjoy it, and y'all already know I am going to be standing back here tomorrow with another video, so I'll be meeting y'all back right here tomorrow.